Hey guys, Mrs. B here, just going over some concepts of division. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about how division is the ability to take a total or an object, number of objects, and separate them into equal groups. When I start teaching division, I normally go over the different parts of an equation. So 21 divided by 7 equals 3. Now there's 3 parts to the equation. There's the dividend, which is the total number of objects that you have, our divisor, which is the number of groups that we're looking to separate those into, and then our quotient, which is the answer to the division problem, which is normally the number of objects in each group. So when teaching division, I normally expect the kids to have the facts memorized. However, I also give them some strategies to help them attack a problem in case they don't have it memorized. So some things that they can do to help come up with the answer is they can draw an array, they can create equal groups, we can use repeated subtraction, or we can skip count backwards using a number line. Hi everyone, so the first strategy that I'm going to represent today for working with division is the concept of equal groups. It's similar to the one with multiplication, however, we're going to be taking the total and we're going to be separating it versus putting them in and counting them up to find the total. In this case, we're going to take 21 objects and we're going to separate it into 7 groups. There are 2 different ways that you can do this. You can create the 7 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in which we are going to separate the 21 objects. Now keep in mind, you want to add the same amount each time rather than sticking them in and hoping that you get to the 21. So the easiest way to do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. In this point, I would then look at how many are in each group. Since we know the total and we know how many groups we have, we're now looking for how many are going to be in each group, which is 1, 2, 3. You can do the same exact thing using the bar diagram that we talked about previously. However, we already know the total and we know the number of groups. So I'm taking my bar and I'm going to separate it into the 7 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I'm going to take 21 and I'm going to distribute it into those groups just like I did here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. At this point, again, I would look to count how many are in each group. 1, 2, 3. We would still come up with the same quotient. When we're modeling using division with an array, you're still going to create this, you know the total, and you're going to create the same number of columns, but at the end is when you're going to count how many you put in each of those rows or those columns. In this case, I'm going to take 21 objects and separate it into 7 columns. So the first thing I'm going to do is represent my 7 rows, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what I want to do is I want to keep repeating that until I get to the number 21. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I took my 21 counters and I separated them into 7 rows. So now I'm going to count how many are in each row. 1, 2, 3. When modeling repeated subtraction for division, you always want to start off with the total and how many you're going to be taking out. Repeated subtraction, the main goal is to continue to subtract that divisor until you get down to the number 0. If when you're subtracting you don't get down to the number 0, that means you made a mistake in your subtraction somewhere. So for example, the first thing we would do is we would take 21 and we would subtract 7, and that would then give us the number 14. Using that number 14, I'm then going to subtract another 7 to give me 7. Using that 7 to subtract another 7, I should come down to the number 0. At that point, I would then count how many times I subtracted. 1, 2, 3 times, which means I was able to make 3 groups of 7 out of 21. For our last division strategy, we are going to be working on skip counting backwards using a number line. Now we want to start off with the total that we have. In this case, it would be the number 21. And just like when we did repeated subtraction, you're going to count backwards 7 times. You're creating those groups. So starting at 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would place my dot and then I would connect it with a little hump, making it my first group. Then moving from 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Connecting to make with a hump to make it my second group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to create my 3 groups. So now starting from 21 and working backwards by 7s, I was able to count backwards 1, 2, 3 times, representing that 21 separated into 7 groups, or counting backwards by 7 gives me 3 groups. So in conclusion, when we're working with division, we're still looking at taking a total number of objects and separating them into some form of groups. In this case, we're looking at the numbers that we have, thinking the total that we have, the number of groups, and then we're determining how many are going to be in each group. So each of these strategies are something that your child can use to help come up with the answer to a division problem if they don't have their facts memorized yet.